Well, good evening, everybody.
Hello, Al.
Howdy, TGIT.
I am very happy. That's funny for y'all to be here. We have a virgin at the table. It's been a long time since he's heard those words.
Carry this.
We'll clue you in when we go.
We appreciate your sacrifice.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Oh, so it's a sacrifice.
On the pyre.
Okay.
On the pyre.
All-day weekend, 4th of July this weekend.
Yeah, it's 4th of July. I'm trying to decide if I'm staying or going to Sawmill.
I just will be at home drunk or moving. I haven't figured out which one yet. That's
Commit.
There we go. Well, welcome to Queer News Tonight, the world's first and only LGBTQ plus daily evening news. It's time to queer up the news. It's 8 p.m. Wednesday, June 30th, and we are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we're going to tell this evening on Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first live daily LGBTQ plus evening news show. Literally out of the closet and into the headlines on Queer News Tonight with Al Ferguson.
Thank you for joining Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only unedited live LGBTQ plus evening news show. Whatever happens, you will see it. Queer News Tonight is supported by viewers like you. We are part of the It's Happening Out television network, Hotspots Magazine, and We Meg events. Hotspots is celebrating 35 years of the LGBTQ plus experience. Merged, we bring you the best of LGBTQ plus news, entertainment, and support of our LGBTQ plus community.
Well, this evening we are going to bring you the news of and a perspective representing the LGBTQ plus community from South Florida, America, and across our planet. I'm your anchor at Queer News Tonight, Al Ferguson. Let's begin by welcoming Morgan Mayfaire. Remember that virgin that we were talking about? Well, he is the co-founder of Executive Director of Trans Social. As a proud Latino trans man and the son of 2 immigrants, Morgan spends his time advocating for the rights and resources for the trans and LGBTQ plus community. Welcome, Morgan.
Thank you for having me, Al. Let's welcome anchor Dale Stine. He has received a master's degree from the world-famous Juilliard School. He is a well-known photographer and has been featured in innumerable magazine covers featuring spreads on CD record covers, websites. Dale is also famous for his photographs for internationally acclaimed DJs, producers, drag personas, politicos, business people, and entertainers. He is currently the Director of Music Ministry at Unity on the Bay and also the moderator of South Florida's largest LGBTQ plus Facebook group, Miami Gay List. Welcome, Dale.
Thank you, Virgin. Thank you.
Right.
Let's welcome anchor David Hopkins. He is well known here in LGBTQ South Florida as an officer for Lambda Men's Brotherhood, a nonprofit organization focused on building a legacy of gay philanthropy with the mission to identify and help find critical needs in our community. Through social and fundraising events since 2005, they have raised and donated over $200,000 in grants to local and national nonprofit organizations. Organizations that serve vital needs in our community. Welcome, David.
Hey, everyone. And if you're out at Pig Dance at Ramrod this weekend, say hi to me.
It's Pig Dance Week.
It is Pig Dance, first Saturday.
So soon.
Let's welcome Gregg Shapiro. He's a renowned LGBTQ plus author of 7 books, most recently, Sunshine State, his Florida-centric poetry chapbook that observes and writes about his adopted state with wisdom, passion, quiet humor, and a sharp eye for detail. He's also an entertainment journalist whose interviews and reviews run in a variety of regional LGBTQ plus mainstream publications and websites. So good evening, Gregg.
Good evening, David. Hello, y'all. We are the reporters for Queer News Tonight, and this evening we begin with the queer headlines. The LGBT community plus community in South Florida and across America is diverse. Our community across the world is vast. And here are the bullet points of the queer news for today, Wednesday, June 30th.
Well, let's begin by queering up the road to Stonewall. People are divided over IKEA's Pride-themed love seats. Watch this.
It is when I found community that I really felt loved.
Finding out, oh, you're not the only one, and there are whole communities out there. That's why I love the trans flag so much.
The support of my family has been tremendous in my transition. I wish I would have done it sooner.
It's a beautiful thing to realize that there are a lot of asexual people out there, and there's nothing wrong with me. I'm not broken.
Being non-binary doesn't mean I have to be masculine. It doesn't mean I have to be feminine. I can be whatever I want to be.
I'm a two-spirit person, you know? I am Cree, I am a youth. My existence is the resistance.
This love seat actually represents the comfort that I feel with myself.
Just to feel heard and to feel seen
And loved.
and loved.
That's powerful.
Well, IKEA presented 10 Pride-themed love seats designed by the LGBTQ and LGBTQ plus ally artists that are receiving mixed reviews from people online. From a pink, purple, and blue love seat covered in handprints inspired by the bisexual flag, to one covered in clouds with blue, pink, and white rainbow for the transgender flag. The love seats were designed to celebrate the LGBTQ plus identities and stories of love. Users seem conflicted over the designs. Some are expressing how they want to purchase the love seats, while others are bashing the designs. People are especially conflicted over the bisexual love seat, which features the words, quote, "When you change or to and nobody believes you," end quote. Interesting. The love seats are on display in IKEA stores across Canada, not the United States, and some people were disappointed to hear that IKEA was not actually selling the couches.
Yeah, I reading some of the tweets were quite fun. I like the one that was like, "I'm an asexual and that couch is anything but." Nothing like saying, "I don't like sex, but my love seat's down to clown." Other people mentioned the bisexual one saying, you know, "I don't want my furniture to deny my existence like everyone in society does." You know, it's but I like the non-binary one with the straps on it. I think that's a cool one. They're definitely art pieces, not meant to be usable furniture for the most part, but it's interesting.
And you have to give it to IKEA. IKEA had ads, same-sex ads in 1994.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they were one of the first advertisers to step out in that. So that was good. This might be not quite as good, but that was a good thing.
Yeah.
I really like it. Sorry, Dale.
No, go ahead, Morgan.
I really like it, and I really like the trans one. I think it's beautiful. I wish I could buy one. You know, as far as people disagreeing or bashing the artwork is supposed to make you feel whether you like it or you don't.
Exactly.
Okay, so it does what it's intended to do.
Yeah. And I don't think, you know, to speak again on IKEA, they're not just jumping on a bandwagon. They've been doing this walk for decades, literally decades.
Yeah, and you know, it's interesting. I love IKEA. I go to IKEA at least a couple of times a month, and I need nothing, and I still go to IKEA because I just like to walk through and touch all of this stuff and the ingenuity that you see in their designers.
And the Swedish pancakes in the cafe are delicious.
And yes, and the ginger cookies are not bad either. But I think what is really interesting about IKEA is they are in a situation, for example, where they sell that rainbow umbrella year round. They have a rainbow embracement year round. And one of the things that I thought was interesting in this controversy, I stayed away from watching that commercial very specifically because I knew we were going to do it as a story in the show. We have complained, the number one thing that the LGBTQ community, we've reported on it over and over and over in this last month. We're getting ready to end Pride Month. And tomorrow starts a new month, and we'll have to figure something else out. But we have complained about capitalism. And IKEA does this, and there's no capitalism behind it.
Right.
which is interesting. And what do some of us do in the community? We complain that we can't buy it. It's almost a no-win situation frequently.
But you almost gotta be glad, because have you ever assembled on a piece of IKEA
no.
furniture?
Right.
I've actually never shopped at IKEA, but I've put together a lot of their furniture.
Well, you've got to go.
Well, I think the best thing about IKEA is that they actually have a non-discrimination clause policy that includes not only your sexuality, but also your gender identity. And they treat their employees extremely
I
well.
didn't know that. That's excellent. I'm happy to hear that. And coming from you, I'm especially happy to hear that. Right.
Next, let's queer up trans rights. Miss Nevada to make history as first ever openly trans USA contestant at the South Point Hotel, Casino, and Spa in Las Vegas on Sunday. Cataluna, what did I just do? Cataluna Enriquez became the first openly trans Miss Nevada winner. The 27-year-old donned a handmade sequence shimmering rainbow sequence dress to celebrate Pride Month for the ceremony. After beating out 21 other candidates, she will represent Nevada at the upcoming Miss USA pageant, held on November 29th. Enriquez suffered years of abuse in high school for being trans. Barred from using the school bathrooms and bullied by her classmates, now she will be the first openly trans woman to compete for the Miss USA title. And if she wins, she will become the second trans woman to vie for the Miss Universe crown after Spain's Angela Ponce in 2018.
Well, first off, this girl is stunningly beautiful.
Breathtaking.
Breathtaking.
Yes.
I remember actually when we reported on the Angela Ponce on It's Happening Out back in 2018, and it was such amazing news back then, and we discussed the fact that Miss USA was not allowing trans contestants at the time. So to see that we now have a contestant who is going to compete on the national level is so great to see.
That is good.
And aren't they usually considerably younger than that? 27 seems kind of, because usually they're in their early 20s.
Child, did you just say 27 is old? Is that what
I
you
didn't
just
say it was
said?
old. I said it was old for this pageant.
I don't know
I
the
didn't-
right?
age range of the Miss USA, but I think it can take a little bit older. Just
Really?
tough.
Okay.
But
Okay.
27, no, you're right, Al. To say 27 is old. I mean,
What's
that's another
27? I
that's
have no
another
idea.
conversation. That's a whole different conversation.
Yeah.
But no, she is just breathtaking, and I would give my left arm to photograph her.
Yeah.
Ooh, maybe you will,
Well-
without giving up your left
You're right.
arm.
I'd rather not give. It'd be hard to.
Actually, it's funny that you say that, because today, when I was reading this, I made a notation of going, oh, there's somebody we got to try to get down here to South Florida, for sure.
She's very articulate, and I think she is a great representative not only of Nevada and the USA, but also of the trans community.
Yeah. Yeah. Excellent. Excellent.
Well, now we queer up entertainment. Ricky Martin clapped back at homophobes with this heartfelt message. The king of Latin pop has been living his life very openly with his husband and their children for some time now. Earlier this month, the pair appeared together on the cover of Cap 74024 in a sensuous, shirtless embrace. And apparently some of the singer's followers were not pleased, many of them unfollowing his Instagram and leaving derogatory comments. He responded to them in an Instagram post saying, quote, "The most I wish in this life is that we all can feel free, proud of ourselves, and be happy, loved, respected, and accepted. That we can express ourselves how we are born without retaliation or without being punished. It's not fair to continue losing precious lives because of prejudice and lack of education. To all those who feel lost or unappreciated for being who they are and who they want to be, you are not alone. There is a great community waiting for you with open arms," unquote.
You know, Ricky Martin has had to fight a lot with this in his life. When he was part of Menudo, he was not allowed to come out of the closet because they said it would hurt the band. As he came out as a pop star, he was not allowed to come out of the closet because they said it would hurt his image. Finally, he just, basically said,
"Screw it."
Yeah, and he came out, and his career's been just as big as ever. It just amazes me that people who are supposed to be his fans, who should know he's gay, he's been really open about it, are going to be upset about that. That's a beautiful photo for a couple. It's not, they're not nude and sexual. They're having a great loving
It's
embrace.
not Lil Nas X.
Yeah, well, and I love Lil Nas X too.
But Ricky continues to raise the bar in how he presents for our community. He just does, it's just an ongoing journey. And I'm so grateful that he's letting us be a part of it and speaking out for all of us.
You know, every time we talk about Ricky Martin, or I think about Ricky Martin, my heart aches for him. And the reason is because Ricky Martin really, for me, over the last 20 years, is the emblem poster boy of the heartache of coming out, because he was in a situation where he very likely went through this phase of wanting to be something that he could not be. He was so, he is beautiful, and he was so beautiful. And when you have somebody like Madonna and Jennifer Lopez chase after you the way they did, he has to fill and play a role, and he continued to do that. And the challenge for him to come out was just, for me, a heart-wrenching experience. So in this situation, I can feel the pain still after all of this time of what he is expressing, but I'm also very proud of the words that came out. We only gave you a tiny excerpt of what he said in Spanish, by the way, to a Latino community that discriminates in a very unique way against gay men. And I'm very proud of many of the words that he said, because he gave inspiration to say, first off, I don't think you can hurt me anymore. And second, to everyone else that is being hurt by this, you've got allies, and I am one of them. And that's what we heard loud and clear. Beautiful message.
Next, let's queer up the road to Stonewall. Rainbow-colored structures light up across the U.S. to celebrate Pride. June is LGBTQ Pride Month, and while this year's Pride celebrations have been smaller and predominantly virtual as a result of the pandemic, people across the U.S. are continuing to celebrate in many different ways. One way is by colorfully decorating spaces to show solidarity with lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer people around the world. Queer News Tonight has reported on many of these displays, from the National Building Museum to the home of a gay couple in Chicago, and around the world to the many soccer arenas in Germany that were lit in rainbows to protest LGBTQ injustice in Hungary. The lights of the rainbow has been shining brightly out of the darkness of the past year. And I love this story because it's a great way for everyone to see the support. It's not just a small little flag, which can be great too. These are big structures that are lit up for millions of people to see that you have someone out there supporting you.
Fifth largest church in the world in New York, beautifully decorates Episcopal Church, St. John the Divine. And it was absolutely stunningly beautiful. I reported on a separate news story about this for a specific market in Texas, where we did this story. And we reported that more than 1,000 structures in the month of June had special exhibits, rainbow color and other paint exhibits in their buildings in the month of June. An all-time record in terms of
That's
what's
about
going
time.
on. And it's about
It
time.
really is.
Yeah, it was really beautiful.
Next, let's queer up entertainment. Lil Nas X was thankfully not shy during the BET
We're
Awards.
getting to this story.
Lil Nas X capped off Pride Month with a captivating performance of his hit song, Montero, Call Me By Your Name, on the BET Awards. In a nod to Michael Jackson's iconic Remember the Time video, Lil Nas X, clad in skimpy, Egyptian-inspired attire, made LGBTQ history by ending his performance by sharing a passionate kiss with one of his dancers. The representation of blatantly gay, black-on-black love and lust made waves through the internet, leaving fans in awe. One fan tweeted, quote, "If you grew up black and gay, you know how major this is. I live for this kid," end quote. Famous fan Diddy, formerly known as Puff Daddy, tweeted, quote, "Lil Nas X did that? Be fearless," end quote.
This is my husband. He just doesn't know it yet. One of my husbands. Lil Nas X keeps pushing.
Wait, and he doesn't know it.
He doesn't know
That's
it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
He's 22. He has to grow into it still.
You know, that's called a stalker, David, not a husband.
He can call me by his name. Yeah, like he keeps pushing the envelope, and he's pushing the envelope by doing things that are completely acceptable for women to do or straight people to do. and he's just doing it as a gay man, as a black gay man. That's all he's doing, but it's causing these ripples and these shockwaves because of the double standard.
Right.
And I think it's amazing that he just does not care. He's doing it, and he's showing people that other people are doing it. Right. Why are you mad when I'm doing it?
It is provocative, but it's intentional, and we all love it because
as a photographer, how do you react to a picture like that?
Well, as a photographer, I don't know. But I mean, I first see it as for the hotness that it is, and it's just beautiful. I mean, it's just so. It's framed beautifully. I mean, I see it first just as a gay man, I think, than rather as a photographer first.
Beautiful,
but it's beautiful.
You know, it's funny, and I admit this. If I would seen this image and watched the Saturday Night Live performance and this, what he did in the BET, I probably 10 years ago would be critical of this because I would have felt like it harmed the LGBTQ community because we're fighting for acceptance. We're fighting for acceptance. There's a black president of the United States, and this is not the representation that we should have. Today, in 2021, I go, I was stupid 10 years ago, and I apologize and
maybe
regret.
Maybe approved.
Okay, well, no, I think it was stupidity and ignorance, and I feel completely different. And now today, when I saw that, I thought, oh, I'm standing right behind you and pushing you every step of the way because you're helping to change attitudes left and right. That quote about if you grew up black and gay is a bullseye because the black community, the Latin community, that's where we have even greater problems with gay men than we do in the white community. And so as a result, people like Lil Nas X is pushing us to new places that 10 years from now are going to be great for his community and our community.
I like the fact that he does what he does without apologies.
Yeah.
Right.
We tried for a very long time to be that boy next door with the polo shirt, just like you, accept us, you know, love is love. And all of that is wonderful. Yeah. But you know what? We don't have to be just like you.
Yeah,
in order to have equal rights and to be treated like human beings.
Yeah.
So I like the fact that he's in your face with no apologies.
Yeah. I just love it. I really do. All right, well, next let's queer up the world. This is an interesting story. The United Kingdom and the U.S. embassies are flying a pride flag. Where? In Russia, where gay propaganda is illegal. On Friday, which marks on June 25th, which marked the 43 years since the rainbow flag was first used as a symbol of LGBTQ plus pride at the 1978 Pride Parade in San Francisco, the embassies of Canada, the United Kingdom, and the United States raised the flag in Russia. Russia's so-called gay propaganda law was signed by Vladimir Putin in 2013 after the start of his third presidential term, banning any promotion of non-traditional sexual relationships. Sounds very progressive to me. Anyone found guilty under the law can be sentenced to heavy fines or up to 15 years in prison. But the country's ambassadors of those three countries each signed an open letter on the day alongside with ambassadors of Iceland, New Zealand, and Australia joining them, quote, saying, affirming the inherent human rights of each individual, including members of the LGBTQ plus community. There has been no word of whether Putin had a heart attack or not.
Well, when a propagandist talks about propaganda, it's like, oh, pot kettle black, okay.
And then on the heels of the Lil Nas story, this is such at the opposite end of the spectrum.
So mild and timid.
Right? I mean, unless you think of like, you know, like Putin and Trump maybe making out.
And a rainbow flag. It's not like the hammer and sickle. It's a rainbow flag.
Right.
Well, it just shows culture too, because, you know, Russia is severely anti-gay. Pussy Riot was a band who were trying to do Lil Nas X as a group of girls in Russia and get out there and show people that gay people are everywhere and they're everything. And they got thrown in jail. They got abused. And they got beat. Like,
But imagine how huge this is for, let's say, someone who's gay in Russia and has to live in total secrecy and then all of a sudden sees the pride flag.
A beacon of hope.
Actually, yesterday, it's funny that you say that, I read a report that to the U.S. Embassy and to UK's embassy. Associated Press estimated as many as 15,000 people while the flag was flying came to the embassy just to see the flag.
Wow. Wow.
It tells you.
That's desperate for
exactly what Morgan just said.
For a lifeline.
That is our queer headlines for today. So let's catch up on the LGBTQ plus news surrounding COVID-19 with our special segment called Quarantine Quickies.
Queer News Tonight has been LGBTQ plus America's most important news source on the pandemic, as we've reported on coronavirus on every news broadcast since January 6th of 2020.
Tonight we report the devastating effect coronavirus has had on the American and worldwide LGBTQ plus community in both total cases and deaths.
But we also provide hope of a new light at the end of this long tunnel. First, we report that as of tonight, more than 2,416,000 LGBTQ plus Americans have contracted COVID-19.
We have watched the greatest single year LGBTQ plus health crisis of our lifetimes. More than 43,000 LGBTQ plus Americans have died from coronavirus.
But the news is improving because as of today, more than 325 million vaccination doses have been administered in the U.S.
And that is our COVID-19 news for tonight. Next, we report that Happening Out Television Network is passionate about our support for the LGBTQ plus community.
An example is Sunshine Cathedral, the world's largest queer church here in Fort Lauderdale. We are broadcasting from our permanent set here at Sunshine in supporting that partnership.
The network broadcasts the largest LGBTQ plus religious broadcast in the world, with more than 30,000 watching every Sunday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern, and it's totally live.
We encourage you to tune in. Our campaign of sponsorship proudly supports Sunshine Cathedral is my queer church. Watch this.
This is Mo Laredo, local law enforcement in South Florida, and Sunshine Cathedral is my queer church.
Finally, we thank Queer News Tonight's hotel sponsor, Best Western I-95 Fort Lauderdale. This is the closest and best choice to the famous Wilton Drive, and our hosts and guests stay at this LGBTQ plus ally partner. We encourage you to stay here when visiting South Florida.
That is today's news for the LGBTQ plus community on the world's first and daily LGBTQ plus evening news show. Is our community important to you?
Then help us by liking and subscribing. Ring the bell for updates. Share this news with your friends and family.
Post this broadcast in the many groups you are a member of. Tonight's stories about our community deserve the attention of your family and friends.
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ plus digital television news in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines. We need your support.
If our community is to grow, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world. This is the only place in the world that tells these LGBTQ plus stories in motion and sound. That is the passion of Happening Out Television Network and Queer News Tonight. I'm your anchor, Al Ferguson, and on behalf of these LGBTQ plus reporters, the anchors of Queer News Tonight, including Morgan Mayfaire, Dale Stine, David Hopkins, and Gregg Shapiro. We will see you daily, which means again tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.